Hello guys, welcome back to another YouTube video here today, and we are going over October 23, 2025 patch. We It has started the Halloween event. The Halloween event has started. The Horror Kairos added support for the Horror Kairos. The free mini event will be live from October 23rd through November 26th. Added the Murmur Legendary Tudor Assault Rifle and Scully Legendary Order Grenade to rewards for borders bosses across Kairos. The special drops will only be available during the Horror of Kairos and delivered to the reward center. They do not change the rates on any other gear for that boss. Reduce progress and loot rewards. Reduce respect machine cost from 5,000 to 1,500. That's a really good change. Added drops to certain boss fights that was dropping loot. That's also a very good fix. Beast Ultimate Vault Hunter 5 level 5 rank up mission now correctly increases rank on Steam. Granted, missing cosmetics for players that completed the Pyro speakers with 155 eclocks prior to previous update. Improve equipment and handling and open rewards while driving. Lost loot machine logic updated to better priority high quality loot over overflow situation. Lost loot machine SUD upgrades are now properly expand slots in multiplayer sessions. Address the reported issue that lost loot machine could cause duplications in multiplayer has now been fixed. Loot enemies now drop more cash. Golden chests can now consistently be opened after joining a session and redeeming shift keys. Reward center behavior has adjusted after claiming the glided glory pack to prevent from losing function. Break free reward bundle has been standardized will now correctly apply account wide as intended. I didn't have that issue. I got that available on every character. So, adjust unlocks conditions so Rift incompatible achievement now correctly completes for all players in multiplayer. Cut that out. Achievement unlocks when viewing the board from a further distance. Level based progression. So, Crimson Rising achievement unlocks at character level 10 as designed. Timing adjustments made to cash ride. Achievements unlock only. Intended progress point. Challenge tracking update on Jacob's throwing knives no longer count as gun kills. Ensure the bobblehead collectors, pedestal grotto, and the motherboard are accessible. Discover locations and now they discover when they're returning to single player after multiplayer. Various fast travel stations that have been adjusted to unlock when they were attended to, including concerns in scene of other mode. Vault key animations now are play. Vault key animations now play correctly during Echo's force sequences. Log pickup and non-paid tab now counts properly. Amar's escort core objective now consistently advances when replayed. Improved various instances of misses and waypoint not showing up accurately. Gameplay and missions. Marie's black market vending machine is be able to interact reliably in multiplayer. Legendary vending machine no longer closes unexpectedly during the vending. Made general improvements to prevent players from getting stuck with spawning, address various issues and reported spawn points, address bounties, beatloaf, grip, shaggery not reliably spawning, addressing reported incidents of terminus range of vault entities getting stuck, ledges during encounters, addressed a reported issue of co-op splash on boss fight leading to more consistent behavior. The hollow capture station is no longer reactivates after the save capture. Safe house capture, one fell swoop that has been updated to prevent players from being left floating in the air. Bio bulkhead now shows correct elemental icon. Have movement and has been smoothed to the element eliminate jitter after certain attacks. Warden no longer eclipsed through the arenas, the walls as boss fight. Improve echo location guidance and across several missions. But we need that improvement in general, to be honest. We just need an improvement to echo and an overwide echo, because he sometimes doesn't even track locations. Like he'll lead you into a wall, but it is what it is. Patch collision gaps, holes, clipping, and invisible walls. I definitely found I found one invisible wall. Corrected order drop pods event consistently reach that ground and no longer appear stuck in the air. NPCs no longer cause player vehicles to get stuck when the player rushes them over. Pangolin enemies now can be damaged by grenade while in ball mode. Chain Master trait now tethers to all allies in range when multiple enemies have the ability. Mangler enemies no longer distinct their positions when dodging in multiplayer. The Vault Hunter changes. All of the Gravitar adjusts some Gravitar builds report, causing a slowdown that shouldn't be no UI elements updated from refight. Gravitar passive augment bonus to gun damage style, Ripper heavy wide barrels, and the Ripper legendary heavy weapon streamer entanglement interaction function has designed. Gravitar class mods has been adjusted to no longer roll a 5 plus pencil down and push passes faster and tend to cap. Really? Balance adjustments, neuron cap now converts all the gun damage into radiation. Now only applies on gunshots and not all instances of gun damage. Neuron capture is best damage scalers during the testing. We found gun damage able to scale on anticipated ways results. This was a new change. Neuron capture, if not best damage scalers, the best power expectations. And additionally, since all gun damage converted into radiation should have even more scaling vectors for clever build, allow meaningful bosses boost. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to be testing these builds. Flux generator annihilation interaction updated with spawn grenades now scale correctly with character level. So now we're gonna go. Amon shields have visually adjusted improved clarity in combat situation traits forge skill. Adjusted the forge master so forge skill can now respecting cooldown multiplayer. Stable camera behavior when combining onslaught with order legendary pistol noisy cricket attack frequency of rock punch is now consistent in multiplayer. Seeing red during rotation no longer increases the per point invested is now 4 seconds of all ranks. Scorched passives now display consistent size of values and ordnance. The forge wave no longer fires unintentionally during glacial rapture. The projectiles no longer get stuck in the air while forge master is active. I've had that happen. Not during this boss. I've ever gotten stuck in the air while doing that forge master skill before. I'm not even doing this boss fight specifically. I had it happen during splash zone. Blackout shock damage will now scale properly when invested. Blackout is now 15% point, down from 21% point. After the effect damage to bloom with blackout was overperforming a bit, so now we had a slight readjustment. Visuals corrected for Forge Knight now no longer disappears when activating Crucible at the same time as throwing Double Edge. Corrected animation Crucible while climbing. Raging Inferno, Incendiaries now properly skills when points are invested. Now we have Vex. Challenge me myself. Now I checks correctly in multiplayer, independent of the clone rotation other players. Dead Ringer inspectors could copy weapons now display proper visuals. Bleed the bloodletter has been updated to no longer recursively trigger itself, preventing unintended damage. Phase Famler, here comes trouble. Balance drop and double trouble illusion damage multiplier is now 75% from 50. Double illusion rotations from 8 seconds to 5 seconds. Apex Beast dealt increase from 15 to 10% on sealed. And then we got Rafa, free grenade, and from class mod now deals appropriate when no grenades equipped. Person skill tree. Action skills of Prophet Slams. Prophet Slams now penalizes gun accuracy instead of handling, resulting in projectile speed beyond affected. Prophet Slams now benefits from cooldown reduction effects. Gear skill boost that handling not properly increase projectile speed. Address reports that swapping weapons in freeloader enchantment on order weapon with a Ripper magazine would call all weapons do not consume the accurate amount of ammo. Health restoration, legendary rep kit, adrenaline pump not correctly works correctly when combined with the legendary shield guardian angel. Reduced critical hit chance on the Jacob's crit knife at a 30%. Dev note, it had to happen when you knew it was gonna happen. That is a funny note. You the devs. Jacob's legendary pistol, Santa Songbird, no longer infinitely stacks when swapping weapons. I knew that was coming. Using Jacob's shotgun with torque, sticky projectiles, and knife launcher underbarrel no longer deals knife damage after switching firing modes. Jacob's weapons parts are updated to ricochet effects only trigger from intended damage sources. Ripper legendary shotgun golden gun overheating now effective clearing correctly when switching weapons. Now corrected behavior and mellow on SMG. Oh my god. So the first three slots no longer consume ammo without dealing damage during continuous fire. Male one, legendary heavy gun gamma void corrected, apply proper and increase radiation damage to enemies inside singularity. Weapons with COB now function correctly if repair animation is interrupted with a rev kit. In multiplayer, Daedalus legendary SMG. The SMG frangible removed from the chest loot table. What does that mean? Darius AR reduced the critical damage multiplier, recoil behavior, improved while charging. The fire orders ARs and torque heavy and triple barrels with parts of gun handling passives. The Vladoff flamethrower under barrel deals infinite damage or bypass bio armor. Torque grenades with a spring apex augments that explode with the first apex. Grenades with spring augments divider payload now they have the three additional bounces when paired. Gadgets no longer reset to maximum uses after gaining second wind. Healing orbs spawn from legendary rev kick. Spring can no longer heal enemies. Order legendary shield. Cinder Shelly. Combat voice now triggers at the intended frequency less often to be less distracting. Theodore under barrel names now match across the item cards and ammo widgets. Malwan lingering payload. Splat projectiles no longer persist from enemy machines. Gear balances. Assault rifle. Star Helix fire rate got increased by 30%. Bonnie and Clyde base damage got increased by 40%. The pair of thieves bonus damage is increased from 150% from 100%. Bugbear base damage was increased from 40%. And then the rotary gun max damage was increased to 200% from 100%. Roland's charge base fire rate increased from by 100%. Roland's charge recoil was reduced slightly. Lucian's flank was base damage was increased by 50%. Lucian's flank recoil was reduced slightly. Aegon's dream was damage base increased by 35%. Heavy ordnance gamma void damage was increased by the singulator by 450%. Duration was increased within seconds. That's pretty insane. Radiation amp damage is increased. The gamma void is increased. Raven fire base damage increased. Class mods dev notes relating to melee action skill damage specific stats on legendaries have been buffed to be more desirable. All class mods melee damage action skill on level 50 is increased to 60%. Skill damage and 50 class mods has been increased to 45%. Avatars entombment skill duration 50% has increased to 45%. Kindred Spirit command skill cooldown rate level 50 class mods and it could be increased to 45%. Forge Knight class mods Blacksmith Forge Drone duration level 50 class mods have been increased to 45%. Blacksmith's legendary effect now increases our Forge Drone by damage by 20%. Viking detonation of 50 class mods. Level 50 class mods have been increased by 60%. Forge master skill damage. Level 50 class mods have been increased by 60%. Elemental legendary effect. Now all damage dealt by Amon is per active infinity 2% infinity per stack. Gravity class mods. Biohazard damage level 50 class mods increased to 60%. Skeptic stasis damage has been increased by 60%. Other gear effects that have melee and action skill have increased effectiveness. We want these builds to be pushed up, but we want to distribute the amount of gear and make them more desirable. Hard hitter now grants 50% melee damage from dealt from 40%. Real big fist now grants 25% melee damage at rank 1 from 15 to 25. Action skill now grants Action fist now grants 25% melee damage at rank 1 from 15%. Action fist now grants 30% action damage at rank 2 instead of from 30%. That doesn't make any sense. Action fist now grants 30% action skill damage at rank 2 up from 30%. How's that up from 30% from 30%? What? You guys read? That don't make any sense. You can't up it from 30% to put it into action skill now fist now grants 30% action skill damage on melee kill from 25. Boxes, armor, shields now grant 25%, 30% melee damage depending on parts rolled from 1 for 15, 25 to 40. Berserker energy should now grant 20, 30, 50% melee damage depending on parts rolled from 20, 27, 35. Groundbreaker now only stores gun and action skill damage. Ordnance damage. Groundbreaker was recruits can cause infinite damage dealt by storing bonus damage across the board. We want the skill to be effective, but not be able to scale infinitely. UI text, sorting settings and menus, not persist, switching tabs, leave menu, toggle junk, behavior corrected the target in the bank menus, weapon no longer sticks on screen when open gear and guns of any menus. Combat radar now features a dedicated legendary loot indicator, making high value drops easier to spot here in harder combat. Really? I like that. Press hold the input now correct, cancels correctly annotations on interactions. Apply settings, prompt screen only appears when changes are made. PS5 and Xbox split screen updates, including a number of text scaling equipment and backpack improvements. Scroll bar behaviors, party list, layout, flip card, functionally restored full screen and resolution controls with switching behavior. Weekly activities now populate after campaign the completion. Marie's black barter machine updates timer updates as they show correct slowdown. Firmware 3-piece bonus. Oi, Oscar, Mike now cooldown icons. Deadeye tier 3 stacks now appears to be a passive bar. Boss bar the spacing now is corrected when the combat radar is active. Transfer the machine when it has been standardized by the game. Travel notification now displays the player's name. Echo's location path remains readable over time. Made improvements to pathfinding, updated various UI visuals and UI alignment, consistency, updated location, various text, and across the game, standardized updated terminology across gear, menus, and customization. Visuals, updated various NPC animations, corrected various reported VFX not rendering correctly. Grapple vault points now show proper models instead of placeholders. Reduce reported instead of visual pops as cinematic starts. Audio VIO has remained returned to say active menus after traveling to multiplayer. Adjusted audio for improvement balance across the VIO. SFX volume slider not correctly applied to high HDR value sounds. Address several reported instances of VIO not playing as intended across multiple missions and scenarios. Ball hunters battle voiceover frequency that has been tuned so lines repeat less often. Missing pain reaction audio restored from several named NPCs. Improved various subtle timing and text. Background music now continues as expected when fighting during the outer assault boss fight. Uniques audio view for boss being shining the gear response. Settings and abilities, personal crossplay settings can be adjustment immediately. Private, local only, public settings. Air dash is now fully usable on controller when toggle crouches off. Accessible gameplay, individual graphics, options now reset properly. The method of making changes run auto detect. PS5 field of view resets this constantly. The default to console without showing mismatched values. Improve stability. We are continuing to investigate and we're improving the stability. addressed the reported multiplayer engine issues and improved addressed performance in multiplayer where a large number of homing projectiles, refined graphics and shader handling, improved made the patch reliability and automation process. Ocean could occasionally fail to load. Miscellaneous Epic Rich Persians now displays English on Epic PS5. Friends list now loads private after logging in and patch detects on the screen titles on screen. Joystick input now behaves constantly when lowering dead zones. Shift account linking verification now auto applies and correctly applies on console. Weekly activity. The weekly big on course is big battle wagon this week. And then we get the kickballer from the Vampiric Coded Heart Invisible Mission, and then we got the Maurice Black Reddit. All right, guys, that was a massive patch. I hope you guys absolutely enjoy this video. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe down below. This video was definitely way longer than I was intending on it being, but I make sure you leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and we will probably be doing some build video updates. Peace out, everybody.